Welcome, horse racing enthusiasts. This is John. I wanted to get a quick video out this morning and hopefully every Saturday until the Kentucky Derby. In essence, what I like to do is give a ranking of the horses, top five, if you will, maybe longer shots for the next 5 or 6, and then up and coming. And then there's another category I have too, which is on the shelf, if you will, like horses that are particularly good or have shown that they could be good and are just hurt right now. So anyway, I'm going to in a minute sort of turn you to a schedule that I have here, and we'll kind of walk through the top horses the way that I see it. But short of that, I do want to bring up one thing. Within the context of this, there's a little bit of a controversy going on with respect to the Derby Trail, and that is the treatment of Bob Baffert, right? As most people know at this point, Kentucky Derby, Churchill Downs has suspended him through the Kentucky Derby of this year. And this year, in essence, what they're saying is horses that he trains that have earned points or have won races that are derived points, they won't be given those points if he's the trainer. It's a very curious sort of situation because as you'll see, there's a number of horses. There's a number of, he dominates out on the West Coast, obviously, and there's a number of horses that have won and have earned points, if you will, but they're not on. You won't see them in the official sort of Derby Trail sort of category. If you were going to go out, and it is open for this weekend, look at the futures betting for any horse that you want to bet on. His horses don't appear in that, so it's really an interesting thing. And I find what's interesting about it is he continues, and the owners continue to support him, which is great, and he continues to run the races. And so what's happening is he's winning these races. And what's happened, the underneath card, to the extent that there are, because some races have run and he's won all 3. In essence, the underneath card just gets the second and third or fourth place points. So what's missing is the big nut, the points associated with the win. So we'll see what happens. It's an interesting strategy that he's deploying. I think what's going to happen is somewhere before the real big races, so you're going to have 50-point races coming up pretty soon, and then you'll have couple of 100-point races. I think he's going to wait till those races, transfer the training, and meanwhile, and win those, and then move on and run in the Kentucky Derby. I think up until that point, he's going to sort of try to litigate that. So, all right. So with that, if you bear with me a second, we'll walk through what the top are. I'm going to transfer the phone a little bit here, or the camera, and go from there. So bear with me 1 second. All right. So as one of my old bosses used to say, this kind of ham and egged a little bit today. But what we'll do is we'll work it through this way, and for this week. And what I'd like to do is provide a ranking every week. And then starting next week, provide the previous ranking, right? So there'll be a couple of races this week. There's a couple of, the Sam F. Davis down in Tampa, which I'll attend today. The W. Nell is a horse that has won points and is probably going to win points in that race. I don't have him listed here, but let's go through what I think are the top. So the first being right now, in everybody's list, if you look at all the lists, Forte. He's on everybody's list. He's a 3-time Grade 1 winner already at the age of 3. Most recently, he won the Breeders' Cup Futurity and then also the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. So very good, very strong horse, and we can't take him off until, there's a reason to take him off. Next up is Arabian Nights, and I can just say I was at the Breeders' Cup when he ran on the undercard. Again, it's a Baffert horse, so there's 0 points right now. But he went out and won the Southwest Stakes just a couple of weeks ago. He's by Uncle Mo, so strong pedigree. He came out and won that race. And he was sold at auction for $2.3 million. So the owners paid for him, and they expect, and rightly so, it looks like he's going to be a winning horse. So we'll see what happens, but he has no points right now, but Arabian Nights is my number 2. Likely, also, Cave Rocks also ran in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, came in second to Arabian Nights, and Arrogate, right? So we won't see any more of those because unfortunately Arrogate passed away. But again, trained by Baffert. Good horse, kind of a speed horse, gets out there. And if you think in terms of, the Kentucky Derby and the traffic, these kind of horses, the speed horses, are gonna sort of get out there. All right. My 4th horse is probably a stretch, but Bill Mott trained Rocket Can. Won the Holy Bull just a couple of weeks ago. Look at this pedigree, really. Into Mischief, which is one of the top sires, and then Tappet is the grandsire. I mean, this is just thing dreams are made of in my mind. So very curious, should do well. Let's watch though, right? In the next race, you never know with these young horses. The next race, he could not do so well and be right at the bottom of the list, if you will. Instant Coffee, he's a grade 2, grade 3 winner. Won the in the Kentucky Jockey Club in the Lecomte. Strong horse. Brad Cox has a great stable right now. You'll see a couple more in the list below. He's just been there. He's just been involved. He's one of those horses that I'm not seeing a lot of wins, but he's there. And maybe that bodes well for the undercard on the Kentucky Derby. Let's just scroll down here. I categorize the next few as maybe Derby-type horses. The 6, Red Route 1, if you look at all the Derby races or prep races, and I have, you'll see this horse is everywhere, right? The strong placing in the mud, so that's something to consider if he does make it to the Derby and happens to be a wet day out there. Not uncommon in Louisville to have a wet day. Has won a couple of times in the mud. He comes charging from behind, so I note here may not be good for Derby. So you got to weigh that, if it is mud and if he can run in the mud, but he seems to always finish, right? Likely in this other Baffert trained horse, National Treasure. Sorry, it's the name's not. It's actually National Treasure. National Treasure is I find a horse that has great turn of foot. Is always in the in tactical speed, and that's really what you need really in the Kentucky Derbies. You need to be able to get yourself out of trouble, get out front, and then run your race, right? And I don't think he's the speed horse, but he has the tactical speed to get out there, and I think we're going to have to watch him. His last race didn't do so well, so let's keep an eye on that. Again, we have the whole Baffert issue going on as well. Blazing Sevens is my number 8. By Good Magic. Chad Barron trained, running well. I want to see more, right? So that's why I have him 8, but you have to keep him in there. Curly Jack has ran well. Thomas Amos, Iroquois winner, second in the Jockey Club, and so I like him there. This 10 horse here, the 2 Phils, is one of those horses I see everywhere, and I can't get my arms around whether he's good or whether he's just like, filling the gaps at the end of races when everyone's dog tired. So 2 Phils, my 10th race. Excuse me, number 10 horse on the Derby Trail. I'm considering this 11 horse right here. Watch this race in the Springboard. Giant Mischief, Into Mischief, Florent Giroux, Brad Cox is the trainer, had a wide trip, and I couldn't figure out why they ran so wide around both turns, but came in second. I'm thinking about a futures bet on him. And, as of the time that we started this taping, again, the futures betting is open, and he's 48-1 for the Kentucky Derby. So maybe worth a bet there. I mean, who knows? We'll see how the weekend goes. If there's a little cash left in the account, maybe that happens. 12 is Jace's Road. Again, a Brad Cox quality road, something to be considered. Gate to Wire winner at the fairgrounds at the Gun Runner, although lost the next out. So again, one of those Cox horses that we need to sort of watch. Verifying. Okay, the next category, next few, I'm going to say are up and coming, if you will, right? We haven't seen enough yet to put them on the list 100%, but we got to keep an eye on who's coming up. Verifying, another Brad Cox, Justify, won an allowance race at OP. So the next race, it's going to be a point race. Where is it going to be? What's going to happen? Let's keep them on our little list here just to follow. Verifying. I think it looks like a good pedigree. Victory Formation has won an allowance race at Churchill Downs. So next up is Risen Star. So next week we'll be at the Risen Star. Victory Formation, big wheat. I loved Tapperate. Unjustifiably, I think he won the Belmont, but otherwise I was with him through the Kentucky Derby and everything else, and probably to my detriment. But again, Brad Cox, Pratt is the jock, so you can't help that. And then we got on the undercard, I believe Holy Bull Weekend down at Gulfstream. We had it was down at Gulfstream because Pletcher, Tappet Trice. Impressive win, first time out, maybe it's second time out. Showing up on a lot of people's list. I was there for the race. Looked very impressive. Really, the next one is going to be what is he going to do next? So maybe he's going to be in the. I don't know. It's too early for the. He's not in the. Maybe the Tampa Bay Derby. Maybe the Juvenile. We'll see what happens there. But his next race will determine everything. And then we have two horses that are on the shelf. I characterize on the shelf. Extra Anejo, Steve Asmussen horse. Sorry, I got a typo there. I copied Steve Asmussen over twice. I don't know who the sire is right off the top of my head. But a lot of talk early on about this horse. Did pretty well, but only won like his maiden race. And so we haven't heard anything else. We heard a lot of talk and a lot of praise by Asmussen himself, but we hadn't seen. So I'm curious. I'm going to keep him on here just to kind of watch. And then the horse that I kind of favor, another Brad Cox horse, Loggins. Ghost Zapper, which I love. Maybe this horse turns out to be more of a turf horse. I'm not sure. But if you go back and you watch that, you just have to scroll up to get the name of the race. I think it's the Juvenile. It's the British Futurity up at Keeneland. I think it was in October timeframe. Loggins took the lead, carried the race, carried the pace for the entire race, and Forte came down the stretch. And I think I talked about this a little bit. I'm going to turn this around and talk about this. And I think we talked a little bit about this, is that in that fraternity race, Loggins took the lead, was running down on the rail, if you will, and Forte came up, and I was riding Forte and kind of went into him. I swear, and listen, I'm nobody. I saw him waving the whip in front of Loggins' face, and I thought it was, I had that one where that video of was it bad sportsmanship or was it just race riding? What was it? Not really clear, but I wasn't a big fan of that race. Irad's the best jockey there is. I love him when he's on my horse, and I don't like him when he's on other horses. So, but anyhow, Loggins looked great. Even came back a little bit as they were going down that stretch. He kind of fell back a step or two, and then he came back. And no horse deserved to lose that race, but Loggins, came in second. That's fine. It was a photo, and I think it was by a nose, really. And then we haven't heard anything about Loggins. No one's heard anything. There hasn't been any published works, so we don't know if he's hurt. We don't know if what the thought is. I mean, the talk just after the race was Brad Cox was going to take it slow with him. So maybe that's maybe that's what's going on. So anyhow, there's the list. Again, I'll just scroll the top five. I'll just give them to you verbally. Forte, Arabian Nights, Cave Rocks, Rocket Can, Instant Coffee. Those are the ones we're going to watch. We'll see it next week. And then if you go out to if you look at Tampa today, there'll be the Sam F. Davis race today, and that W. Nell looks really good in the 10th race. I'm gonna real quick. I'm gonna throw your attention on a horse that I like here. This is the Sam F. Davis, and like might be a little bit of a stretch, but it's a play based upon what I think the likely odds are going to be. 21 morning line, Zydeco. I believe that horse could be the lone speed. Now, again, this is a mile and the 16th race. It's a Derby prep. It's unlikely that he's going to go out and this gelding is going to go out and take it, gate to wire. But Champion's Dream is a 9-2 favorite, the number 9. And this horse beat Champion's Dream just the last time out. So let's be, smart with the odds and smart with money play. We can still like W. Nell, the 7 horse, and likely going to win it. But I'm going to take a little bit of a shot on that number 12, and just say, again, an old adage that a horse player friend of mine, older guy, said. He was that horses that run together finish together. So I'm going to go with that. So again, Tampa Bay Derby, 10th race today at Tampa. The Sam F. Davis, a prelude to the Tampa Bay Derby. Sam F. Davis, 10th race today at Tampa. I like the 12. Probably some combination of 12, 7, 9, and 11. All right, enthusiasts, thank you. It's good talking to you. Hopefully this came across all right. Looking to improve it. I'm looking to get my producer to be able to take that schedule, drop it into the video so I can talk and show you the horses at the same time. Thanks for your patience, and good luck at the races. Thank you.